seen it, but Pete recently played. He did a masterclass for a Facebook group, so like a live Facebook masterclass, probably the first of its kind. And he started the masterclass by playing a solo rendition of Horace Silver's beautiful ballad piece. So I thought we could take a look at that. So in this video, I'll just take a look at the first chorus, and I'll probably do another video taking a look at the second. He played 3 choruses, so maybe 3 videos. It will take me 3 videos to cover it. So what I just played was the first chorus, and maybe we can take a look at the song first, at the chords, and then maybe try and understand what Pete does. Oh, and I didn't write a PDF yet for this one because it's quite rubato, so it's a bit of a headache to write down, but I'll probably do it at some point. So let's go into the song first. Now the song is basically in B flat major. You can just take a look at it. It's in the real book, I think, but I'll go through the chords quickly just to help you out. So it's in B flat major, but we start in A half diminished, so 2/5 to G minor. The chords go like this: A half diminished, D7, G minor, C7, and it goes to B major 7, and then a quick 2/5 to B flat. Now after we get to this B flat, we have 1 bar of B flat, and then we go to B minor, E7, A. Now the bass goes down, F sharp minor, bass keeps dropping. Now we get to E flat minor 7, A flat 7, and D flat major 7. Now for the ending, we go to C minor 7 flat 5, F7, and then a B flat. A lot of people played kind of a B flat sharp 11, though the melody is actually in F, so forget about it. The B flat it's just a B flat major 7. I think I mixed up another song there. Anyway, so those are the chords, and let's go ahead and check out what Pete plays. So Pete starts up playing this pickup. The melody note, the first melody note is an E flat. So we're walking up to this E flat, and I don't know if you noticed, but he uses a B natural instead of a B flat, right? We said we're in B flat major scale, and instead of going up a B flat major, he kind of uses the B natural. So it kind of sounds like a G7 minor 13, which if you think about is a common way of getting to a C minor. And of course an A half diminished is just about, it's almost the same as a C minor chord. They kind of have the same function, and they also share a lot of the notes. They actually have the same notes if you think about a C minor 6, right? So C minor 6 and A diminished have the same notes. So he kind of walks up the scale that would usually lead us to C minor, but of course in this case it leads us to an A flat and A half diminished. So I'll walk you through the notes if you haven't figured them out yet. This is a D, E flat, F, G, A, B natural, a C, a D, and then E flat. And this is kind of the one of the chorus, this E flat. Now once he gets there, he circles around it once in a very Pete Bernstein way. So he has this E flat, and then he plays an F, a D, and back to D flat. So it's kind of like emphasizing the importance of that note. Now he plays this arpeggio. He does it pretty much in every ballad he plays. He plays this arpeggio from down below, starting on the 6th string, and he never plays a straight arpeggio. So he would never play, right? He would never go through all the notes of a chord, but rather pick and choose which notes he wants to play each time, kind of never in like a chronological order or a descending or ascending order. So anyway, we had this E flat, and now he goes down to the 6th string and he plays this arpeggio. So it starts up with kind of an arpeggio, and then plays on D altered, or an A flat 7 is maybe a better way to think about it. So I'll just walk you through the notes maybe, and then we can talk about what it means. But this is pretty straight ahead stuff. If you think about the chord being A flat half diminished going to D7, so it's kind of spelling out that chord, that tension that leads us to the G minor. So let's look at the notes. We have a D down here, an A flat, so tritone to start out, C, F, E flat, A flat, C, and now we go back down kind of, B flat, G flat, A flat, F, C, E flat, and a D. So we got back to the D, to the root kind of the chord. Now this D kind of sounds maybe like he already reached the G minor in his head at least, right? Because it's rubato, there's no real beat yet. But after he reaches this D, he plays these two intervals that kind of suggest that he haven't reached it yet. So he plays this first interval is an A and a C, and now he plays a B flat and an A and an A. So B flat and A, major 7. And this kind of makes it sound like this moment is the moment that the G minor comes in, right? Because this A and B flat are very typical way of playing a G minor 7. Just playing the major 7, the 3rd and the 9th. I mean the minor 3rd and the 9th. So I kind of think about it that way. This is the way we kind of reached. This is the moment we kind of reached the G minor. And then on the G minor, he kind of plays this very interesting, very bebop-like. Sounds very like a Sonny Rollins lick almost, no? So this is kind of like a G minor melodic scale, right? But the way he emphasizes the B flat and the F sharp makes it sound a lot like a C7 already, like a C7 augmented. So it kind of moves in between those two chords, the G minor and the C7, or maybe the C7 augmented that he likes using a lot more. So I'll go through the notes once. We have a D, an E natural, an F sharp, G, A, B flat, and now back down to the F sharp. And now while keeping the F sharp up here, he kind of arpeggios, he adds these two notes to make out this C7 sharp 11, or augmented, whichever way you want to look at it. Maybe it's a better way of just look at it as a sharp 11, because the augmented is a different augmented chord. It's a bit complicated and it's gonna come later, so I'll be explaining that one as well. But anyway, this one only has an F sharp, a C, and a B flat. So it's definitely just a C7 sharp 11. And now he keeps playing on the same chord kind of. So he kind of uses the same scale, he just starts one step lower. So we have a C, D, E, natural, an F sharp, a G, an A. Now he gets to this B flat. But if you recall the chords of the song, this is the moment we hit the B major 7. So it's better to think about this as an A sharp rather than a B flat, right? Then you're thinking about the right chord note. This is the major 7 of the B major 7. Now once we reach this A sharp, it kind of goes into another arpeggio, kind of a cool arpeggio that, well, it kind of turns into a lick at some point, but he starts with arpeggioing the chords in this very unique way that he has. So we had this A sharp up here, and now we play So I'll go through the notes once. It's a B on the lower sixth string, E string. Then we have an A sharp, D sharp, A sharp, F sharp, G sharp, an A sharp, a B natural, C sharp, a D natural, and now it goes to a D sharp, kind of if you still think about it in B major 7, but actually the chord has changed now. So this is an E flat. So again, just this lick. This E flat is the moment we reach the C half diminished chord, the C minor flat 5 chord. So and now on the C minor flat 5 it does another arpeggio from down below. So you can think about it as keeping the melody, this melody up, kind of harmonizing it from below with these arpeggios, and then reaching a new melody up there on the first string, and again harmonizing it from below. So this is not really melodic lines. I mean, this is not really one melodic lines, but rather this very clear melody up there that is being harmonized by playing these low arpeggios. And often he would also keep the notes a bit longer. So if he plays this E flat, he would start arpeggioing below while still keeping the E flat going, just to make it sound like two distinct voices. Just so the ear wouldn't mix up the melody and the kind of backing arpeggio lines that are going on below. So let's take a look at this arpeggio that he plays on the C minor flat 5. He had the E flat up there, and now it goes down. It's a C, an F sharp, B flat, E flat, and now he kind of plays this pretty common lick to get to the B flat. So we will hear on the E flat we have an F sharp, G sharp. It's kind of like a diminished scale now. So we have the G sharp, A, and now it goes up to a perfect fourth up here. It's an A flat and an E. Another perfect fourth, G flat and a D flat. And now we finally get to the B flat chord with an F and a C. So it's the fifth of the chord and the ninth. So just again, this beautiful arpeggio on C minor 7, flat 5 going to F7. So maybe a bit about technique, because I haven't talked about technique at all. A lot of times people will be playing these slower arpeggios by picking each note. But also sometimes it would be kind of raking them. Kind of getting a bit of a smoother sound, less attack on each note. So I usually try and do both just to make sure I can play it whichever way I want, whichever way I need to. Also, raking is sometimes a problem, especially when you need to skip a string. So you don't want to be dependent on this raking movement, but it's sometimes very useful if you want to play a bit quicker. So in this case, I do play. I play the first 4 string arpeggio as a rake before I start picking them. And yeah, I need to listen again. I'm not actually sure how Pete plays this one, but you can check out the technique side of it on your own. Kind of find out what works for you. So we got to this interval up here, the perfect fourth up here, and this is the B flat major chord. And now he goes into a series of very nice chords. It's something he does a lot in that specific song, but also in all this ballad playing, kind of playing a sequence of chords, often going down thirds, and it would start up here and go all the way down, and at some point move on to the next chord, kind of. So I'll just play this once and maybe we can talk about it. It's not very straight ahead. It's not a very easy sequence of chords to make out from a theoretical standpoint, to kind of understand why he picks each chord. I think it has a lot to do with his ears and what he hears at the moment, and rather than with the harmony and how to objectively one could best describe it. So these are the chords. So important to understand is kind of the goal of this whole sequence. The goal is the B minor chord, right? And I think he also talks about it in the Masterclass, that at some point you don't want to think about which chord you're in, which is B flat major. You want to think about which chord you're going to, like what the goal is. And the goal of this sequence is obviously the B minor chord, because this is the last chord we hit, and then after the chord there comes in another melody. So this is obviously the goal of this chord sequence. And I think the best way to think about those chords are somewhere in the area of a C minor 7 or an F suspended, like this kind of sound. And of course he also uses the A natural, so it's an F suspended, so it's an F that has a B flat and an A. So it's basically like the area of a 2-5, right? So we have a C minor and F7, and this is basically just a 2-5 half step up, right? Because we have a C minor, which kind of gravitates half step down to the B minor. But all these chords that he plays kind of fit into that to that notion of somehow describing a C minor or an F7 that go down this half step to the B minor that we're trying to get to. So I'll just explain the chords quickly. Show you the notes if you didn't catch them. The first chord is up here. It has an A on top, E flat, B flat, and an A and an F. Sorry. So it's a perfect fourth chord basically, with an augmented fourth up here. The next one is another perfect fourth chord. We have an F, C, G, D. The next one is your common C minor 9 chord, C minor 7, 9. So we have a D, G, E flat, and B flat. Now another perfect fourth, C, G, D, and A. Now this is repeating the first chord, an octave down, right? We had it over here, now we're playing it down here. So we have an A, E flat, B flat, F. He might be playing the C as well. It's a bit hard to hear that in the recording, but he might be playing the C, so it's just another perfect fourth. You can keep the beret with the first finger, keep the beret just one string lower on the 5th string as well. Then you catch the C with the rest of them. The next chord is again repeating the second chord, an octave down. So we went through this cycle of 4 chords, and now we're playing them just an octave down. So we have a perfect fourth chord again. We have F, C, G, and the D. And now it kind of gives out the secret of the whole thing. It just plays the C minor 7 with the 11 on top. So we have an F, E flat, B flat, C. And this one goes down the half step to the B to make out the B minor chord. So obviously we have an E, D, A, and the B here.